The type of research that I do is really trying to understand and then address how the epidemic of obesity has risen so quickly over the last 20 years. I mean, we know that over the last 20 years our genes have not changed. Our behavior has changed. But I think even more fundamentally than our behavior, our environment that facilitates us eating too much and not exercising enough, that has changed significantly. And so what our research does, I work in a team, and because not one single discipline or one single person can understand how this all fits together. So we work in a team to try to understand what has changed and then what can we do to change the environment to promote healthy living and healthy weights. For example, look at how cities are structured. So some of the people who work in physical activity on my team would look at, are neighborhoods walkable? Are people actually able to, walk to the store to pick up their loaf of bread or a jug of milk? Or do they have to get in a car wherever they go? And if the and then looking at how do neighborhoods and the walkability, how does that affect the obesity rates in those communities? And one of the things that we do know is that in highly walkable neighborhoods there are lower obesity rates. The more time people spend in their cars, the more likely people are to be obese. So we need to think about ways that we can encourage City Hall and such to change those types of structures. On the food side of things, one of the things that we've looked at is where are the sources of food located in cities. And so I had a student who actually mapped out where all the fast food restaurants were in the city of Edmonton. And one of the things that he did was then compare where those food outlets were to the demographic characteristics of the neighborhoods. And some of the things that we found is that there were really hot spots of fast food, places like downtown, actually right here on the university campus, around places like big malls, like West Edmonton Mall. And we also found that people who live in low-income neighborhoods are exposed to fast food 2.7 times more often than people who live in middle or upper income neighborhoods. So when we hear about the obesity epidemic, it almost seems like a contradiction, but affecting low income people more often, what it might be is that the neighborhoods, the environments where people are living are promoting a type of behavior that is inconsistent with maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So those are some examples of how we're looking to try to understand the environment and how that influences people's behaviors. What I think is more important than that, though, is how do you make change? It's one thing to say that we've been immersed in an environment where food is marketed to us 24 hours a day. It's available to us 24 hours a day. We don't even have to get out of our car to get it. But it's another thing to actually address that. So one of the research projects that we're working on is called Healthy Alberta Communities. And in that project, we're working in 4 very distinct communities in the province of Alberta. One that's sort of an inner city neighborhood, one is a smaller city, and 2 rural areas, one that has recently been affected by the oil boom. And we're trying to work with members and organizations in those communities to make the healthy choice the easier choice in those communities. So we're working with, for example, town council to build trail systems so that people can commute actively to work or school. We're working with communities to expand community gardens and farmers markets so that people have ready access to healthy foods. And basically what we're really trying to do is change the culture in those communities so that the healthier choice is the easier choice. Our focus in our research program is predominantly on the prevention of obesity. We're really working at trying to make communities places where obesity is not going to be the norm anymore. However, having said that, I think that a healthy community is also very supportive of people who are already obese, because they also will have the choices that they may be looking for, and may not be feeling like they're pressured to always have to go to a fast food restaurant for lunch or something like that. So the type of work that we're doing is really focused on making the entire environment healthy for preventing and treatment of obesity. In the work that we're doing, we're moving beyond blaming the individual. We're recognizing that the individual makes the best choices that they can. Many people know exactly what to do, but are often constrained by what's available to them. So our first step in the community work is trying to make those choices more readily available to everyone. But having said that, I think we have to go beyond just working at an individual community level and think about how to change society in general. And that seems really daunting. But when I look at things like the progress that's been made in tobacco control over the last 30 or 40 years, I think that it gives me hope that there is potential for change. So policy is where I see the future going, needing to advocate for policy change. So, for example, healthier foods are more affordable. And instead of right now, where it's a lot easier to get a lot of calories for really cheap because of the processed foods are inexpensive. So why is that? We need to look at things like agricultural policy and what foods are getting subsidies. And why can't we perhaps even use our taxation system, use the GST system to put taxes on junk foods and then use that revenue to subsidize fruits and vegetables and put those into schools in the vending machines. So the policy type of work, I think, is really the next step. And we have a long way to go there, but I see gradual changes at the city level, at school level, at worksite level, where people are already starting to put policies in place.